So today I'm going to talk about what is DeSci and why is it vital for our health and privacy. Um, DeSci stands for Decentralized Science, and I'm specifically focused on the medical science on this presentation. However, this could be applied to all areas of science. So the research that goes on in science is highly, highly important to us people. And when it's been used for malpurposes, when it's been used against us, and when it's falling into into centralized hands, and then they create large organizations like the WHO and the CDC in America and all these hugely bureaucratic, government-based and private corporation, cartel-based so-called health organizations. They have to be broken up. And so decentralized science is going to have, I believe in time, a significant impact on breaking up those cartels and also, basically bringing our health back into our own hands. So you could say that this technology is helping us to, this technology is basically where data, privacy, innovation in the form of science, is really a type of innovation, and health all meet, they all intersect. So I'm going to sort of remind everyone about the principles of foundations of why would a business want to build on the blockchain rather than just have, say, an online presence or just even not just solely offline business. So the reason why things like science needs to be decentralized and put on the blockchain is because for one big reason is this is where everything is going. There's a huge push for this. Businesses will soon be flooding onto the blockchain because of its decentralized nature. And that basically means privacy in our data and our assets, our money, intellectual property, identification, and personal movements. It can cover all those areas, and I'm sure there's more that I haven't even thought of. It's going to provide us transparency, particularly in the transactions, where everyone sees everyone else's transactions. And transparency is also provided by the fact that, in the case of some blockchains, thousands or even hundreds of thousands of people have the blockchain code downloaded on their computer. So that's where the real privacy and decentralization comes in, because it means that to take down the blockchain, they'd have to take down every single computer that's holding the code for the blockchain. It gives us the ability to create a digital share of the business that's issuing the token or the crypto. So so basically it gives us ground floor entry into completely new businesses that will completely disrupt the existing corporations. The internet is morphing into a 100% blockchain-based place. It's basically what's happening is, as the blockchains, they start out as sort of like islands, and then as this is growing now, those islands are linking up to other blockchains or other islands, and it's creating a giant decentralized ecosystem. So and eventually it will swallow up the internet, which itself is centralized and is also a problem. So we have to have end-to-end decentralization. not just like decentralization in the middle with a moat of centralized businesses around the outside. This is how it's starting off, but eventually that moat will be dissolved. Decentralized blockchains gives us the ability to settle all transactions instantly. That's probably not a term that a lot of us people are aware of or understand, but basically whenever you are sending money overseas, the money is not actually settled until it's received, and it goes through various sets of hands, goes through middlemen in between before it's finally paid out. Settlement means the actual money is received at the other end. So blockchain is very decentralized blockchain when it comes to global payments is going to be really, really important because it cuts out all those middlemen and it's instant settlement. When you send the money, they receive the money almost instantly. And this can also be done for all the other decentralized projects that we work with. There's no intermediary, there's no central bank, there's no SWIFT system or anything like that. Blockchains, especially the decentralized blockchains, will create and help to sort of create a foundation for that online community. And it's actually going to help the community offline by giving the whole community the privacy and transparency that we're seeking as an individual as well. It's the ability to seamlessly connect with multitudes of other businesses. In other words, like a full decentralized ecosystem. So that's kind of some key reasons why people are building online, and particularly in the blockchain space. And particularly, I'm mostly talking about decentralized blockchain. Obviously, CBDC might be on some kind of blockchain, but it's really nothing like what I'm talking about. That's just basically a ledger that's got a very thin veneer of blockchain, but it's just really just another way of centralizing everything. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto this site. This is on CoinGecko, which is one of our research sites. And I'm just going to go in and put this web address in. So this is on the CoinGecko site, and CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap.com both provide a lot of information on individual projects and on the blockchain in general. And so they've given some pretty good pointers here about why what is decentralized science and why it's going to be good for us. So basically, decentralized science refers to the use of blockchain technology and its features such as tokens, NFTs, and decentralized autonomous organizations, also called DAOs, to make various aspects of scientific research and collaboration more open, incentivized, and community-driven. So it's certainly not getting that in the science today. Key takeaways are DeSci uses blockchain and decentralization to reform funding, which is really, really important, data sharing, publishing, and collaboration in science. As we know, these big organizations, if any scientists are going rogue, they pull funding, and then that's how they control them. So that is going to eliminate that problem. as well as the data sharing and not falling into all the centralized hands. The publishing of data will be much more widespread and given to the community, and there will be a lot more collaboration. So you've got various, they've mentioned here 3 projects: Vita DAO, Athena DAO, and Genomes DAO are the biggest projects that carry the DeSci narrative. And there's actually one more that I think is even bigger than that I'm going to focus on after this. But you can see they're all created as decentralized autonomous organizations, which basically means that everything is put on the blockchain and it's all automated with smart contracts. So there's almost no or very, very limited human contact needed. It's all this information is there and everyone can access the information, and you get access to their token and everything else, all done in an automated way. That's really, really powerful. The DAOs, something that I'm exploring for our own business as well. So as they say here, as many revolutions are facilitated by technology, and most of them discussed on CoinGecko often center around decentralized systems, the scientific industry will undergo a similar shift. A shift in the way of research, publishing, funding, and new forms of collaboration that try to offer solutions to many problems in the scientific field. In this article, we are going to examine this relatively new narrative, decentralized science, DeSci, and take a closer look at the most prominent projects that have big ambitions in the field. So this is an interview with Vitalik Buterin, who was the creator of Ethereum. I'm not going to read everything here. I'm just going to try and pick out the sort of key things here. So problems in the traditional scientific field and the valley of death, what they call the valley of death. It's an interesting one. So you've got over here, you've got universities, you've got academia, you've got the research labs and all of that, who, these are creating all sorts of things from that cut into technology area, that cut into biological area, medical science. Pretty much everything that we've got in our world has come out of a research or scientific lab of some kind. And then when they come across something really cool, when they invent something, they have to cross this valley of death to get to the industry, to get it out and basically to the mainstream and in the hands of everybody. And obviously, because academia is so controlled and they only want what they want out, they find it very hard to traverse the valley of death. And it really is an appropriate term when you consider what's been happening in the last few years. So so that's the problem we've got, is cartels controlling the funding, they're controlling the scientists by that way, they're controlling the media, they control everything around it, from beginning to end. So that's obviously a real problem. And as they say here, crossing this valley of death demands a novel, more effective approach, and blockchain technology with its distinctive characteristics may assist with addressing this challenge. In the following sections, we examine specific issues at certain levels that generate this hurdle and explore how decentralized science solutions are working to mitigate these problems. There are many areas in the scientific field that are in desperate need of innovation. And currently, key focus areas of decentralized science are data sharing, the overcoming of archaic systems for data sharing, data provenance, ownership, and sovereignty, super important, everything comes down to data in a digital world. Research and publishing. The revolution of research and publishing process that has been a point of criticism in scientific communities. Funding. With the rise of borderless and immutable funding facilitated by crypto, a new way of crowdfunding is introduced for scientific research. That's what basically crypto and blockchain is doing. It's crowdfunding their projects by us buying the token. So they've got an infographic here. It looks quite sort of complex. But you've got different, looks like these are different projects in different areas. These are active. So there's actually tons of projects, as you can see. There's ones that are focused on the funding side, one focused specifically on the research, publishing, reviews, data, whole ecosystems, infra and services. I suppose that means like networks, art and communities. So they've even got, they've got a lot of sort of specific applications, and there's some that are working on the whole field as well. One of the biggest challenges faced by traditional science is research and publishing, and made clear to anyone involved, is the extensive list of requirements that must be checked off before research can even begin, let alone publication if that milestone is reached. Here are some of the challenges: peer review problems, intellectual property, gatekeeping, high fees. I won't go into all the details, but I'm just kind of giving you an overview so you get the gist. Blockchain solutions, open science is decentralization. Research hubs, scientific discussions platform powered by crypto. So Research Hub is a platform that wants to foster a collaborative open science model where researchers can share their favorite research articles, discover papers, and be part of a scientific community. Their ultimate goal is to become the go-to platform for scientific discussions with an incentivization layer that rewards contributors, and this way will accelerate scientific breakthroughs. Because the people are being incentivized, and I guess as they're bringing good quality, research and discussions, they will get rewarded in kind. The project is backed by Coinbase founder Brian Armstrong, who is passionate to accelerate science and tech solutions for the biggest challenges of the world. He is so passionate that he sold 2% of his stake in Coinbase to fund Research Hub, which is very cool. And there's this tweet about it when he did that. Tokenization of intellectual property. So you can make an NFT out of the IP, which means it's very, very secure and can't fall into the wrong hands. Non-fungible tokens means it's unique. It's got a unique identifier. It's a one-off, and it can't be cracked. Funding, that's definitely a big problem. Follow the money. Extensive grant applications. In traditional academia, there is a need to write extensive grant applications where much of the work must be outlined beforehand. This long duration of pre-publication work could hinder risk-taking and innovations. On top of that, in order to get funding, researchers are being pushed in a direction where they favor their potential financiers. There's major conflicts of interest and major corruption at that level. Misaligned interests, lack of incentives. So, lots of stuff there. And then now we can have funding through tokenization, where people they can buy the token and then they can participate in the platform, and then they can, then receive the rewards as the project starts to build. So there's a real incentive for the token holders. There's a real incentive for the researchers. There's a real incentive for the blockchain builders, because everyone's really stands to share in the rewards, and they keep the key information private. Molecule protocol, I'm not sure what that is. Science and intellectual property. Molecule is another platform, it's another project that bridges the gap between biomedical research projects and the funding they require to progress. It serves two main types of users: researchers and investors. Researchers that have a specific research aim, project, or idea could find different types of investors, ranging from traditional pharmaceutical venture capitalists to patient advocacy groups and DAOs. Molecule's goal is to provide biotech DAO builders with IP, NFT, legal frameworks, organizational templates, funding, talent, and more. DAOs for specific diseases funded by patients and researchers can tighten feedback loops. So there's more stuff here. There's obviously and then they go into DAOs. I'm going to go more into presenting about DAOs. That's a big area. Huge amount of potential there for securing our data even more. It's another layer of protection on top of the wallets and everything else. The DAOs are going to be, I believe they'll be the main way that people create their business, is in a DAO, and it's going to be far more better than what we got. And now they're going into specific projects. There's Vita DAO, tackling aging with the power of a global community. Then Athena DAO is about women's health, very important as well. And this one, bio.xyz, the DeSci DAO accelerator. Genomes DAO is built on the belief that every individual should own their genome, which I totally agree with. That is probably our most important thing that we could ever, it's what created us. So I think that's pretty important, especially with this genome project. And they use these ancestral people finding out about their ancestors, and a lot of people submitting their DNA to find out who their ancestors are. And then they're just collecting all that data, and this is how they do a lot of their research. It's through people volunteering their own genetics to get their ancestry, which is it's pretty crazy. So basically that's kind of giving you a bit of a view on the general side of things. And now I'm just going to go over to this project. This is a project that I've actually invested in. I've bought a few tokens, not a huge amount, but I definitely dipped my toes in when I heard a presentation done on this. It's called Axon DAO. And I will go into their website and show you what they're doing. It's a brand new project. It's got some serious hitters behind it. these guys are using AI, and these guys are using AI a lot, as well as the blockchain. So I think that's a really good combo, is putting AI on a decentralized blockchain. That's where AI should be, on totally decentralized, and having that's why you use blockchain as a decentralized trusted layer. So they're obviously working with CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap and a company called Dex Tools, online blockchain-based company. And they're also working very closely with NVIDIA, who are developing these very advanced GPUs, the advanced computer chips that can handle AI. So they have actually got first dibs on these super advanced chips. And yeah, they're kind of working with some other big players as well. Polygon, which is another blockchain, NVIDIA, and Gitcoin. Don't know what Gitcoin is, but and the Health Reimagined using blockchain and AI. Etherscan is to help verify the contracts and verify the transactions. Cyberscope security audits, and Pink Sale is a company that does the KYC for them. Know your customer, that's what that means. Now, so what they're going on here is their main thesis: there should be a two-way relationship with our health. I couldn't agree more. It's all one way at the moment. It begins by making it easy for everyone to actively participate in their health and instantly benefit from it. Their mission, ExxonDell's mission, is to independently decentralize and help protect the world's health data. We'll do this by supporting DeSci, fairness, educating, non-bias affiliations, and transparency. Exxon's history. Exxon began in 2014. So they've actually been going as a science kind of research for many, many years, well before they came on the blockchain. And they started as a medical telecommunications startup, having built various mobile software solutions for hospitals and clinical research companies in the US. So this, the token that we can purchase is the AXGT. That's the governance token. It means that we can vote by holding shares. You can vote in there and some of their processes. Whereas the ownership token, it's only available to accredited investors at the moment. And it's basically ownership. It's actually investors who are investing in the actual company itself, whereas we're investing in their token over here. So yeah, so we don't but still the token will go up as the company gets established. Token will go up. They're saying here security token versus governance. So their ownership token is a security token. And we talked about securities before. It means there's quite a lot more regulation around it. Unfortunately, they have to do that because otherwise they'll get taken out by the powers that shouldn't be. But they have a security token, and they have the governance token we can purchase is obviously different. It means and it's participation in the defined operations of a DAO, where non-owners may participate, vote in defined areas such as where the DAO's public funding goes and rule changes. So that's pretty cool. These are some of their business technology partners: Hewlett Packard. A lot of these, I don't know who they are. I noticed there's no Pfizer there. There's no Johnson and Johnson. There's no Moderna. Because these guys are actually very much. I've read it somewhere else. I haven't seen it here, but in researching this project, they actually mentioned that they have no affiliation with the big pharma, and they want to deal with the smaller researchers who struggle for funding and are doing incredible research but can't get their research published or funded. So yeah, so that's basically what Axon DAO is. Yeah, so basically we can go into here. So how it works. So they've got their products and services, the research side over here, the data over here in their vault, not in the cloud, the medical data grid and the user profiles, basically the people who bring in their data, the algorithms that connect the research to the vault. There'll be the smart contracts probably. Yeah, so basically you can see they're creating a fully decentralized kind of model there. And then this is the research. This is the research model. So these are just all based on the researchers themselves, their profile, their actual research, their ideas, and then when they get greenlit, so that's their own model of deciding what to focus on. This is all about the DAO community. So got the community connection there. And then the research. So we get access to what's happening. So that's the idea of it, is bringing transparency to the research, basically to the community, and protecting your data, protecting your personal health data. Intellectual property, this is particularly where you get very needed to have protection over the IP, because it falls in the wrong hands, then there's problems. So yeah, so that's kind of that. What projects they're working on. One of the projects they're working on is this precognitive voice analysis. And this is where AI comes in. This is where it's pretty amazing that you, just by speaking, the AI can analyze exactly the state of your health just from the tone of your voice. It can preempt. It's so accurate that it can preempt things before they become a real problem. So it's really state-of-the-art preventative medicine, which is pretty incredible just by your voice. And I know other projects are working on this as well. And then they've got the psychedelic speech profile, using AI using comparative algorithmic data from speech through vocal speech sample analysis. So that's kind of going on from that. Not sure what this is. Finding autonomously adverse effects. There is a chance that during individual review of this information, the drug safety personnel may miss some key areas or detailed information. Health diary or anonymous health data repository. So that's really cool. So that's one project. I think that's their main project at the moment, is using this AI voice thing. The roadmap and these other ones, the silosis and Ultra Plus V. But I'm not quite sure what they are. Ultrasound lifestyle device. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, so we look at the team. So these are just sort of how I do research, just going on here, checking out the website. It's pretty straightforward, and just making sure that you're checking out who's behind all this. Um, don't the names don't really ring a bell, but some will to somebody, no doubt. Um, but yeah. So what else have we got here? And then you got the white paper. And the white paper is a good idea to read whenever you're investing in anything, because that is basically outlining how they're going to do what they do, what their vision and mission is, the technology behind what they're doing, who's behind it, and their bit of their more of their background. Sometimes they go into that, and what their ultimate vision is, basically. Um, and I think this is where I came across where they're working with smaller researchers and they're avoiding big pharma. That really caught my eye, and I think that this is going to be a massive growth industry in times to come, because we know what's happening in the world, what's coming down the pipe. A lot of people are very debilitated in their health right now for reasons we know why. And when there hits mass realization about what's going on, you can imagine there's going to be a stampede for, uh, research and platforms like this. And it's also going to mean, obviously they're going to be calling for the heads of governments and the heads of these powers that be, powers that shouldn't be, I should say. There won't be much longer, but this technology is giving us a place to transit to. This is giving us they're building this as a solution to the current problem, which is massive. And so it means that instead of just swimming around and recreating the same problems and basically recycling deck chairs on the Titanic, people can turn to platforms and research like this and know that our data is going to be a lot more secure, and we'll never have the situation again where basically we get subjected to a bioweapon. So this is why I love the blockchain, because it's providing those solutions on every area of industry, in finance, in here, in health, in the problems of centralization in technology in general, our data harvesting, our ID harvesting. The problems with centralized ID could be quite horrendous. So again, here, this is where the AI is safe. In the problems with lending, borrowing, banking, it goes on and on and on. The corruption in industry is all pervasive in every area. And a lot of it comes down to the money, the funding, the money go round, as I call it. And so blockchain is going to be hugely disruptive to the current cartels. I mean, obviously they're trying to fight back, but how do they fight back? They either try to squash it, which is pretty much impossible now because the development is coming out everywhere. And once it's on the blockchain, it can't be stopped. If it's truly decentralized, it's like the genie is out the bottle. You can't put the genie back in on a decentralized blockchain. So the other thing they can try and do is, well, if they can't beat it, they will try and adopt it and subvert it for their own purposes. But to adopt it means that they've got to follow what's already been developed outside of their purview. So that means they're going to have to buy the token, which is only accelerating the people who have already in on it. It's accelerating their wealth because it's only going to make the price go up. And then they're doing that. BlackRock is doing that with Bitcoin now, where they tried to kill it. Now they've created an ETF out of it, which brings it into Wall Street. But if you hold the real Bitcoin, you are a lot safer, a lot safer because you're holding the token. So they can only try and control it from external factors, not internal factors. They can't control the tech. When it's fully decentralized and it's fully encrypted in a proper way, they can't just shut it down. It's not possible. So this is where people have got to get their head around the fact that this is a whole game changer on the system. It's systemic. That's why it's so disruptive, because it's actually affecting their current system at its very core level. And we know that real change, real lasting, meaningful change happens from within, and then it translates to our external. So it can happen within us and our own realizations, but it can happen within a system at the core level. And the core level is the code of these programs. The blockchain is software code or protocol, they call it. And the protocol is, once it's released, it's like I said, it's the genie is out the bottle, and you can't just squash it back in, or you can't just subvert it, change it, override it, backdate it, which is sort of what they do with the financial system, or they shield it from us so we can't see what's going on. So this is why I am really, really bullish, and and the more people that participate in this, the more we are making it a reality for us. We're creating our own reality by participating and taking action. Then that means that more and more people have got these wallets, they've got the tokens in their wallets, they've got their decentralized protection, and then they can't do anything about it except try and then go, okay, well, we'll have to regulate it then. And then that's going to be great for us who are already in, because the regulations are largely been driven from within the industry as well, because the industry is slowly but surely creeping into politics now. And so that's a good thing. It's a bottom-up approach. And then when you've got the top down collapse that's happening because of the BRICS and because of people awakening and because of governments and politicians just basically falling on their own sword, left, right, and center. We're kind of in the middle here with this technology, and there's going to be a convergence of a collapsing system with a new system coming up as well. So that's going to be hugely chaotic. If you look at, as an analogy, if you look at where, say, a river meets the sea, and it's, and they have a bar, and that's where the waves get really big because the currents of the river or the currents of the sea merge with the flow of the river, and you get that's very dangerous area when you're in a boat going across that confluence. That's kind of what's happening now in our system and in our financial system, particularly. There's the old and the new clashing, two different ideologies, one trying to shut us down, one trying to control everything, and another ideology where we're seeking freedom, privacy, and more autonomous independence and all of that. So that's kind of how I see what's happening, is a huge sea change. And when the sea is coming, like I've sort of said before, when the tide is coming in on this stuff, it really is coming in. There's not much you can do to stop a rising tide. You could try and build a barrier. You can try and, you can try to stop the tide. It's impossible. And so this is why the big guys have got a problem. It might seem like they're in full control, but as one of the guys I listen to a lot, he's got this saying, little by little by little by little, and then bang, everything happens. So it's kind of bit by bit by bit. And seems like, we might seem like we're losing or we've lost even. And then all of a sudden there's going to be this huge turnaround because the media are fooling us on what's really happening. And they're not reporting on this people's-based movement, the decentralized movement. And it's going to literally burst into view. And the politicians are going to look pretty stupid and pretty powerless as well. So I am very bullish and very confident that this is going to win. But it's up to us to make that happen. It's not going to be we just sit back on the couch and we just like let everybody else do it. We've got to actually participate, and we can't just be a passenger. We actually have to be a player on the field now. So yeah, so that's basically what I am here to present today. I spoke on just about, let's make it a bit shorter today. So I'll stop.